Yeah.
Hi everyone, Sue here from LMS Celebrity Autographs. Today we're delighted to be joined by former professional footballer Nigel Jemson. Good morning.
Good morning.
Nigel enjoyed a long career in the game, representing clubs including Preston North End, Nottingham Forest, Sheffield Wednesday, Notts County, Oxford United, Bury and Shrewsbury Town. Nigel, it's an absolute pleasure to have you with us today. Thanks very much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Starting right back at the beginning, Nigel, when did you first realise that football could become a professional career for you? And what do you remember most about those early days at Preston North End?
I think when my dad and my brother used to take me on the front lawn, really, having a kick around when I was this age. But then obviously developing and playing for Cubs, your local football team. I was in demand. I was scoring quite a few goals, so 5, 6, 7 a game, really. So then you obviously didn't have academies then, did you? So it was all about whether I could sign schoolboy forms, to which I did. I had a couple of trials, Blackburn and Blackpool. Obviously, Preston North End took me on as I think I was about 14.
Wow, yeah.
As an associate schoolboy form, and then obviously left school at 15 on the first year on the YTS.
Nice one. Your move to Nottingham Forest gave you the opportunity to work under the legendary Brian Clough. What was he like to play for? And is there a particular Clough story or piece of advice that has always stayed with you?
Wow. I did. When I was playing for Preston North End, a lot of clubs obviously have scouts that represented them, and because I was in the centre forward position, English, you tend to get a lot more attention. So Preston North End needed the money, so they needed to sell me. I was on the verge of signing for Manchester United, which I didn't really want to go to. I'm not a massive Man United fan. And then Brian Clough rang me up one night and said, I believe you want to sign for me. I said, I'd love to. He said, I'll see you at the City Ground tomorrow, 9 o'clock, don't be late, and put the phone down. So that was my introduction to Brian Clough, really. So I went down the following morning with my parents, my manager at Preston North End at the time, John McGrath, his driver, and drove down. And it was literally, we got there. Obviously I'm a massive fan of Nottingham Forest from afar. You used to see Clough with his green jumper on, his blue tracksuit bottoms, and Trevor Francis scoring the winning goal in the European Cup and all this lot. So, to meet him in person, I was a bit dumbstruck, really. I was like, wow, this is Brian Clough. And, literally, we sat talking, had a cup of coffee, and then suddenly my parents went to Nottingham. He gave them some money to go shopping. I got told to walk Clough's dog down the Trent with one of his coaches. And at that time, it was so early, I didn't even know there was a river in Nottingham. And then the Preston manager, John McGrath, he did my contract with Brian. And when I came back, I got told to sign it. So I thought it was great. My wages had gone up. I got this lovely contract. And on the way back, John McGrath told me he got $5,000 for signing me. So I was a bit peed off, really.
Forest supporters will always remember your winning goal against Oldham Athletic in the 1990 League Cup final at Wembley. When you look back on that day now, what memories immediately come flooding back?
Everything, really. It's still as if it was yesterday. For myself, a 20-year-old lad playing in a major cup final was an unbelievable feeling. Proud. Delighted for my parents. In fact, they were in Portugal, came back a day early for the game.
Yeah.
But we, as a football club, we treated it just like as an ordinary game. Okay, it was Oldham, but we went down the night before. Didn't do anything really out of the ordinary, and then obviously we got to Wembley about an hour and a half beforehand. We were walking around the pitch, and obviously Clough came up to me and he said, "Son, I believe you think you're a good player. Score me a goal." So
You're truly obliged.
I did, and little did he know I had 100 quid on myself to score the first goal, 8-1 as well. So it was quite a good thing. But actually, when you look back at obviously the videos of the game, you know, I scored a goal and I scored it at the second attempt really because I was clean through and I tried to bend it around the keeper and he saved it and I tapped it in. But Cloughie sat on the sideline, didn't show any emotion whatsoever, you know. So it was quite an anticlimax really. And then I can remember going up and collecting the trophy, and we all got like a miniature Littlewood's cup in a box. So when I opened the box, the top of my trophy had fallen off, it cracked. So I quickly swapped it with somebody. So mine was a perfect one, and they ended up with the one. I don't know who's got it, but it was quite funny. And then the next, because it was a Sunday game, the next day, he had us in training and ran us.
So, didn't even give you a day off for winning?
No. No.
You later joined Sheffield Wednesday and were part of another memorable period in your career. What stands out from your time at Hillsborough, and which teammates made the biggest impression on you there?
Yeah, the move itself was at the beginning I thought would be a great career move. Trevor Francis was the manager. Some fantastic players there. You know, John Sheridan, who was at the time had been at Nottingham Forest as well. He was at Sheffield Wednesday. Chris Waddle was there, Carlton Park, you know, you can reel them off, you know, proper good players. Chris Waddle, you know, I probably was my best player that I've ever played with. At times he was unplayable and he was coming towards the end of his career then, but I thought it'd be a great move, but unfortunately, you know, after about 2 or 3 months of signing there, I had a bad car crash which set me back a bit. So it didn't really work out as well as it should have done really, but no regrets really. It was a great football club, great fan base. And I think the one game that sticks out for me more than anything else was I was substitute for Sheffield Wednesday. I came on and we were 2-1 down. I ended up scoring both goals against Manchester United and we beat them 3-2 at Hillsborough.
Wow.
And to be honest, I was nearly there for nearly 4 years. And when supporters bump into me and I see supporters, that's the game that they talk about. Remember when you scored 2 against Man United?
You played for a number of clubs during your career, including Notts County, Oxford United, Bury and Shrewsbury Town. When former players get together, it's often the dressing room moments that produce the best stories. Is there a funny or memorable behind-the-scenes moment from your career that you can share with us?
Yeah, every club's different and they all have their ways. I think nowadays it's initiation. People have to sing a song and a lot. Luckily we didn't because I can't sing. But one of the standout moments for me was when I went down to Oxford. They set up this prank that they do for most signings, whereas they've got this fella that, you know, tends to be an alcoholic, and obviously we're at the training ground, and he comes along out of nowhere, starts walking along in the pitch in the middle while we're training, you know, with his coat on, and he's got this bottle of whatever he's drinking in a paper bag, and it's quite funny. So we're all having a laugh and telling him to get off. We're training, and all of a sudden he kept coming back in, but then suddenly he got his gun out, and then obviously shot up in the air. So obviously I'm running for cover, sort of thing. So but it was all set up,
and everybody else is killing themselves laughing at you.
They're on the floor laughing their heads off, and I'm running off because thinking I'm going to get shot. So yeah, that was probably one of the funniest moments.
Oh dear. Finally, Nigel, you represented some fantastic clubs with incredibly loyal supporters. What does it mean to you that fans still remember those matches and moments all these years later? And what message would you like to give to everyone who supported you throughout your career?
Yeah, whenever you go to football clubs, you know, the intention there is to support you and you do the best for the football club, obviously. It didn't always work out at certain clubs, but you know, the support was always there. And you know, when you go back to these former clubs, or you know, people see you certainly around Nottingham and stuff like that, and people approach you and start talking to you, it means the world to me, to be honest, because it means that people recognise who you are, and you've obviously done something in your career. You know, I'm sure there's tons of footballers that don't get noticed and stuff like that, and you know, it means that I had quite a successful career. So it's quite an achievement, and I'm quite proud that, you know, people do want to talk to me about my time as a footballer, because you know, it's something I look back at and I'm very, very honoured. And every club I played for, whether it worked out or not, I appreciate the chance they gave me to, represent their club. And I had some fantastic memories from every club I've been at. The dressing room, with some of the players, the banter was, I loved it. That was in a world where, you could have a banter and you could have a go at people and stuff like that. We had a bit of a drinking culture as well at times. We had some superb nights out with quite a few players at different clubs. So I'm very, very lucky, very fortunate. I live my dream.
Not a lot of people can get to say that.
And even people now, when they say to me, what's your dream? I haven't got a dream anymore now because I've done it. I've lived my dream. I've represented my country. I've scored a winning goal in a cup final. I've made, the biggest achievement was actually signed as a pro, because it's that hard to do. And I gave my mum and dad some fantastic times.
Brilliant. Nigel, thank you very much for joining us. It's been a real pleasure looking back over your career and hearing some of those memories. And thank you to everyone watching. Make sure you follow LMS Celebrity Autographs for more exclusive interviews, private signings, and memories from some of the biggest names in football, sport, and entertainment.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
It.
Cheers.
Thank you.